Hey, Rob Brown with Clark Marine, another tech tip.
Yep.
Start the year, Nell.
I got some hose in front of me.
I see that.
Yep, I
Primer
got-
bulb, got some clamps,
Yeah,
got some things
clamps,
there.
Yep.
What are you going to show us today?
Well, I'm going to show you what to do and what not to do if you're going to replace some of your own fuel line. Common item, you know, it happens. We have quite a few people come in and want to buy a fuel line or pieces of fuel line and, you know, just repair like a bad primer, a short section of hose that needs to be put in. But sometimes we see it done the wrong way.
Well,
So-
it's a big wear item.
It
I
is.
mean,
It's
these
a wear
things are
item.
out in the sun all the time.
the
Most
time.
of them now.
Yep.
You've got different grades of hoses that
Yep.
you want to make sure you use, and
Yep.
nowadays, you know, all of the fuel hoses are marked for
EPA compliant right there, so
Mhm.
this is what they call a low permeation hose.
Mhm.
Not any hose will do, so that's why we have to go with this. Same thing with this particular hose. This is the same thing. This is basically a
But you're dealing with
An
bend
EPA
radiuses
Yeah, yeah,
and
this
the
is
type of
more rugged,
material
yep.
that it's made of and
Yep.
whether it's below the deck. But today we're
Above the
talking
deck.
about clamps, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Because more and more when we see something coming in,
Mhm.
we've got a running issue with the motor.
Mhm.
It's skipping.
Yep.
It's not reaching high horsepower.
Right.
And a lot of times you're not really seeing fuel leaking.
Nope.
But you're sucking air into
Sucking
the
air.
fuel system.
That's the biggest thing.
So let's talk about the clamps. What do you got there?
Well, this is an original equipment hose right here from Mercury. As you can see, it has 3 clamps. I've already taken the one off over here, but I'm going to show you the wrong way to put the repaired piece on.
They got a name for those clamps, I know.
Well, they call these screw clamps.
But this one here,
Yeah, this one here has got a specific name, and
it's called an Oedeker clamp.
Oedeker clamp. That is correct.
I'm sure somebody.
Generic
developed it.
the generic term on these are basically ear clamps.
Ear clamps. There
Ear
you go.
clamps.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
And so everybody goes to the hardware store and basically grabs a hose clamp. So if I can even get
Which
this
is
thing on.
stainless steel. I mean, they've been around for several years. I mean, you see them on your
Yep.
car in some cases, and
Yep.
I mean, we've all
And,
replaced a radiator
put it
hose
on
at one
and-
point.
You know, they grab this little doodad right here and they screw it down nice and super tight. And yeah, does it do a job? Yeah, of course it does. I mean, you really scrunch it down. But if you kind of look, it's cutting into it. And I haven't clamped it onto here because it's actually cutting into the hose.
And if you look at inside, you know it's hard to see in the video. It's a multi-level layered hose.
Yep.
You've
Yep.
got a liner in there for the basically ethanol protection.
Ethanol protection, yes, there's a liner inside that.
You purge that liner though, and now the ethanol is going to breach the exterior of the hose.
I'm going to try to expand this out a little bit to actually put it on the end of that. By the way, this hose is pretty stiff, and it is for a reason, is to help it from kinking. I got a pretty tight radius
Yeah,
there.
you sure do.
Regular hose will actually develop a kink spot in here, which could lead to other issues. So this is one of the tricks that we use to try to get it on. Now, I can show
Yeah, if you got gasoline, it wouldn't be
Not a good
to
thing,
use
nope.
open flame or something
Nope.
to give it.
Nope.
That could change your day.
that could change your day. Whoops, I got
Yeah.
my other hose.
Yeah.
All right, so you got to get this
It's
on
a
all
wrestling
the way.
match. It's made to be tight.
Made to be tight.
Yeah.
And basically, you're going to grab this particular clamp.
Mhm.
You bring it all the way down on. And the nice thing about this particular clamp, of course, you have to use a pair of special pliers. These are called Oedeker pliers. Not something the average home consumer is going to have.
they're readily available.
But they're
It's
readily
not
available.
something that's
We
difficult to come by.
can actually get these for people if they want to do it themselves. But you
Yeah.
basically you grab the ear clamp like that, just give it a little bit of squeeze. It's there. It doesn't cut into the hose.
It's almost like a factory seal.
It is
and-
factory.
and
It
the
is
the
very-
real key
Yep.
is it retains its circular effect,
Exactly.
where you don't have ended up with a gap.
And same thing with a couple other things that we see a lot. You really can't tell the difference until you come up close to them. And this is the best way to show it. You notice one has what we call fangs. The other one doesn't. There's no fangs on it. And this is approved for fuel. This is not. And the reason that this is approved for fuel is, again, I don't have to actually clamp it around something.
Go ahead, do it. Yeah, but it's
But if you take and you tighten this little guy right up, take a look at that and see how well that seals. See, it's all rounded. There's no missing gaps or anything, and I tightened it up pretty good. Do the same thing with the other non-approved one. Will it hold? Of course it will. It'll hold.
I mean, we use these for wiring, you know, hold wires in place and things, just not in an application where it has to be, you know, airtight, so to speak.
I got that pretty tight. Now, I could go tighter, but if you look right in there, there is a small gap. And that clamping force is lost. And the reason why the clamping force is lost is because it doesn't have what they call the fangs. Those are approved for fuel, these are not. Plus the tensile strength of these is low. They're not designed for a high clamping force. They're like about 20 pounds per square inch. This one here, 60. Big difference.
It's pretty decent.
This is an original equipment manufacturer's clamp where the other one isn't.
What do you figure is the percentage of service or repairs that come in that really the contributing effect, you know, is a bad clamp?
Quite a few, actually. We have a lot of people come in and they're complaining about a poor running engine. Like you stated in the beginning, you know, it's just not getting up to speed. It's not idling properly. I always have to prime the ball. That's a big one. I'm always got to prime the ball, even on their little motors. We'll come in and what we'll do is we'll examine the fuel system. They've probably got old line. That's the biggest issue. The line is old, it hasn't been changed in a while. We refer to it as red letter line if it's this particular style. And the other thing that we find is we find a lot of clamps this type, they haven't been
And
tightened.
they have the other snap clip.
They have the other
that are
snap
pretty
clip.
much.
Or they use these
just-
right here, and what they've done is they've just tightened it so much.
Well, you want to make sure it's nice and tight, but we showed how that can cut
It cuts right into
the
it.
hose,
Yep.
and it
Cuts
can also
right into the hose.
You
Yep.
can
Yep.
kind of shut down the flow
Mhm.
because everything is calibrated or flow.
Yep,
So
take
before you go out and buy coils and spark plugs and things like that, this is an area, especially with ethanol fuels.
The basics.
Really look at this stuff very closely.
Yep, the basics.
And the same thing again. If you have any questions about this, bring the stuff into us. We'll be definitely at no cost, at least inspect it
Quick
for you.
inspection, and most everybody right here at the counter can help that with that. They come in, and if not, they'll usually come out back. They'll usually find me, and I don't have a problem talking to the customer for a few minutes to just give them some good advice. That way, they go away. They can purchase the right parts right here
Yep.
from us.
Use this as a resource.
Mm-hmm.
We're always available to you. So
Yep.
once again, Rob Brown with Clark Marine.
Nelson
This
Bozier,
is the tech
Clark
tip.
Marine, yep.
Nelson, way to go, bud.
Thanks.
Good information.